Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Good morning and welcome everybody to the Crypto Mining Show, your one-stop shop for all cryptocurrency news from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner. I'm the host, Blind Run, and in real life I go by Matthew. Today, we're obviously going to talk about the initial setup of the great Ethereum Hashrate migration. And then from there, we have tons of topics to get into before that. We have a new release from Team Black Miner to cover. We have official specifications announced for the 6x 50xt series from AMD. We have two large miners doing some hash rating. We got Marathon Digital and Argo Blockchain borrowing more money, trying to get more Bitcoin hash. We have Jack Dorsey, Michael Saylor, and the Bitcoin community penning a letter to Environmental Protection Agency to refute the myths. We're going to cover what they said in that. And we have the Flux snapshot coming out or up tomorrow. So be prepared for that. Make sure that you have basically everything in your Flux wallet, your Zelcore wallet, because there will be a benefit of 5% of up to 5% benefit to your holdings, actually up to 10%, 5% per token, per parallel asset. We'll talk about that. Then we'll get into mining profitability for the day and of course discuss more of the migration. But before we get into it, here's a word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs quickly while earning up to 8% cash back. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking, to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. Bam, and welcome back everybody. First things first, we always cover new miners for the day, anything that's been released. Once again, the show is every Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. Central, unless I oversleep. But, you know, it is what it is. Let me get this pulled up here. And Team Black Miner is the name of the miner today. They had kind of paused. We had been giving them a hard time for releasing basically a new miner every day for a while. Call it Team Nightly Miner. But it's been a while. I think the last one was 27 days ago. So 5 hours ago, they released a new update. And here are the changes. They added support for SSL mining and anonymous mining. Reduced the GPU memory requirements in copy DAG mode to extend the life of low memory cards. New fix for GPU timeout on AMD cards with high intensity, and some short option change names. So you can look at the new, I suppose, readout here and take a look at that. And then if you want to download it, you can give it a shot. Links down in the description. Make sure you get it from the official GitHub and not from any nefarious website that could potentially be malware. So there's all the disclaimers and the updates out of the way. We have new information, specifications confirmed for the RX 6950XT, 6750XT, and the 6650XT. These are final specifications as confirmed by AMD. The flagship Navi 21 GPU will rock a 335 watt TDP with a boost clock of 2310 megahertz. AMD's Radeon RX 6000 refresh series comes out next week and will include 3 graphics cards. You'll have the 6950 XT, the 6750 XT, and the 6650 XT. We have now been able to confirm the full and final specifications of all three models. So starting up with the lineup, the AMD RX 6000 RDNA 2 refresh lineup will come in three flavors. These include the Radeon RX 6950 XT, the Radeon RX 6750 XT, and the Radeon RX 6650 XT. These graphics cards aren't meant as an official replacement to the existing lineup, but more of a step up from where the current cards stand. The first look at these graphics cards was reported by Video Cards. The 6950 XT will be placed above the 6900 XT, and the 6750 XT will be placed above the 6700 XT. You guys get the idea. Think of it as AMD's own super refresh, but without major upgrades. The lineup is expected to bring performance increases ranging from 5 to 10%, and memory is going to play a huge role in achieving these performance targets. And memory as miners is what we want. So this is an amazing refresh for miners in particular. I know, I get it. They're talking about overall performance increase from 5 to 10%, but if we're talking about mining performance increase, well, get excited, because that is going to be what this is focused on and where they're getting most of their performance boost. With the lineup out of the way, next up we are going to take a look at the individual specs each graphics card has to offer. The 6950 XT will come packed with the Navi 21 XT8XH GPU in its fully enabled die config, featuring 80 compute units for 5,120 SPs. The card will also feature 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory across a 256-bit bus. I like big buses and I cannot lie. There are also 80 ray accelerators for ray tracing enablement on the graphics card, 1 RA per compute unit. The graphics card will operate at a GPU clock of 2.1 gigahertz and a boost clock of 2,310 megahertz. That's an increase of up to 4% over the 6900 XT reference model, which clocked at 2015 and 2250 megahertz respectively. The graphics card will offer up to 23.65 teraflops of peak FP32 performance. In addition to the standard memory, the 6900 XT graphics card will also feature 128 megabytes of Infinity Cache on the GPU die. The cache will help boost bandwidth for higher performance at resolutions beyond 1080p HD. The 128 megabytes of Infinity Cache boosts the standard 512 gigabytes a second bandwidth by 3, delivering an effective bandwidth of up to 1.72 terabytes a second. The graphics card will feature 18 gigabit per second GDDR6 memory dies, delivering an effective bandwidth of 576 gigabytes per second. And the card will rock a 330 watt total board power, which is a 35 watt bump over the 6900 XT. So we're getting some pretty good specifications there. Let's go ahead and get out our percent calculator and start seeing what kind of boost we can expect here, right? So percent calculator out. The only other thing I need is 6900 XT specifications, because I forgot the total memory bandwidth on that particular card. So let me see if I can pull it up somewhere. Yeah, all right. So if we take a look, the bandwidth is 512 gigabytes per second. Let's go ahead and say, is what of 512? We're getting a boost from 512 to 570. Oops, 6. Dang it. Let me pull the calculator back up. Fat finger in it. It's the ring light, I swear. All right. What is 576 of 512? Calculate that out. We're going to have 112%. So now we just need to say 112.5% of what is fair. I can always hit 63 mega hash a second pretty easily. Calculate that out. We are looking at 70 mega hash a second on the prediction for the 6950 XT launch. Now, of course, the elephant in the room is, oh, why can't we get this 1.7 terabytes a second with the boost from the Infinity Cache? Why don't we have Team Red Miner or somebody figure this out? I know I'm not smart enough, but please. It's just, it would be so amazing. As for the design of the graphics card, it will ship with the same midnight black flavor as the 6800 XT limited edition, with a 2.5 slot cooler and a massive triple fan cooled heatsink, and power provided by two 8-pin connectors. So this one is looking exciting. Obviously, the pricing is going to be what brings it into kind of fruition and what we're going to be able to expect from an ROI perspective. But I think we can expect 70 mega hash a second, probably at much lower power consumption than 335, of course. Let's get into the 6750 XT specifications. The 6750 XT will be packing the 22 XT GPU and feature 40 compute units, which are equal to 2,560 stream processors. The graphics chip also features 40 ray accelerators for ray tracing capabilities on the RDNA 2 based GPUs. The graphics card will come clocked at 2,495 megahertz game and 2,600 megahertz boost clocks, an increase of up to 3% versus the 2,424 megahertz game clock. The graphics card will feature 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory buffer along a 192-bit bus. AMD will be using the 18 gigabit per second dies, which could net a total bandwidth of 432 gigabytes per second. The GPU additionally packs 96 megabytes of cache, the effective bandwidth at 1,326 gigabytes a second with Infinity Cache, an increase of 3. So if we wanted to calculate out this, we can go ahead and just go back to the percent calculator once again. And we can say, what is that of, let's just do the 512 on the 68 or 6900 XT. That would be 84%. So we'll just calculate that and say what's 84% of 63 and calculate that out. We would be looking at the 6750 XT having a hash rate of 53 mega hash a second. That's my prediction. I'm going to stand by it. Now that we have all these numbers coming out, it's pretty exciting stuff. The GPU will be fully Gen 4 compliant. As for the total board power, the card will feature a 250 watt TBP, which is a 20 watt bump over the 6700 XT design. This is solely due to the use of the higher clock memory dies, which will lead to increased power consumption. So obviously tuning these, because most of the power does apparently be going to the memory chips, that does mean the power will go up along with the hash rate more than likely. Lastly, we have the 6600 or 6650 XT graphics card, which will be powered by the Navi 23 XT GPU, featuring 11 billion transistors and packed with a 237 millimeter squared die. It'll feature 32 compute units with a total of 2,048 stream processors. The card will also rock 32 megabytes of Infinity Cache and feature 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. Memory capacity running across a 128-bit bus, and they did slow the memory speeds down from 18 gigabits per second on the other two models to 17.5 gigabits per second. That gives you a total bandwidth of 280 gigabytes per second. And as we calculated before, this one comes out to 35 mega hash a second. We've already covered this one, so I don't really need to run the numbers again for you guys. That being said, of course, the most enticing model here to me is probably going to be the 6750 XT, which is the refresh of the 6700 XT, because over 50 mega hash a second plus, the lower power consumption and lower price point really puts that in. I was initially very excited about the 6650 XT, but the problem is of course, we're not getting that full fat 18 gigabits per second upgrade until you get to the 6750 XT. So I'm actually leaning a little more towards that mid-tier card, that 6750 XT for building a rig, over the 6950 XT, or of course over the 6650 XT. Let me know what you think in the comment section below and the live chat. And let's get into more news surrounding mining companies and their moves that they're going through right now. So you got CoinDesk here saying Marathon Digital cautiously optimistic about meeting early 2023 hash rate guidance as delays continue. The firm mined 299 Bitcoins in April, a near 31% dip from the previous month, citing weather and maintenance issues. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes, put on more fans. Welcome to Texas, baby. Marathon Digital, one of the largest publicly traded Bitcoin miners, said on Wednesday that it is cautiously optimistic that it will achieve its early 2023 hash rate guidance of 23.3 exahash per second as delays in the deployment of miners continue. About 4,200 Marathon miners were successfully installed in containers at one of the Compute North's new facilities in Texas, the company said in a statement. However, these mining rigs are now expected to come online in May as opposed to its original schedule of April 17th, as the company's energy provider required additional consent from a third party. Remember, we talked about this a little bit ago. In Texas now, these large mining operations require approval from ERCOT directly, and that is part of what's holding them up here. Currently, it does not expect this process to impact future deployments of miners, the firm said in a statement. Quote, while the power provider was working through this process, construction of Compute North's facilities continued unimpaired, and thousands of additional miners are currently being installed and prepared for energization. There we go. End quote, said Marathon's chairman and CEO Fred Thiel in a statement. Quote, given the progress we have made at the start of this year, breaking the mold on deploying behind the meter and the unique advantages we maintain from our asset-light model, we are cautiously optimistic that we are still on pace to achieve 23.3 exahash a second early next year, end quote, he added. This is a slight change from the previous statement regarding its plan to meet its guidance. On April 4th, Marathon said it still believed it was, quote, on track to reach 23.3 exahash a second by early next year, end quote, citing delay due to a longer than expected permitting process for the required power for its operations. Marathon currently has 36,830 active miners producing about 3.9 exahash a second of mining power. In April, Marathon mined 299 Bitcoins, a near 31% dip from the previous month's production. The main reason for lower production were weather and maintenance issues, which caused the power generating station in Hardin, Montana to operate below normal levels. So it's not the one in Texas, but it is still, going down. I still think it's funny to prepare for Texas weather. Previously, Marathon said it was moving its mining machines away from Hardin site to a more sustainable power station. The company continues to hold on to its mined Bitcoin and currently has about 9,673 Bitcoins, which has a fair market value of about $365.5 million US. This is in contrast to its peer Riot blockchain that sold around 10 million worth of Bitcoins in April after selling $9.4 million worth in March. Marathon will report its first quarter earnings on Wednesday post-market. Analysts will mainly focus on how the company is going to house more than 70,000 new mining rigs and source capital for growth. The stock was down over 1% in early trading on Wednesday, while Bitcoin rose about 3.5%. Moral of the story is that ERCOT's holding up, of course, some of the increase in hash rate for Marathon Digital. Don't worry, more hash rate is coming to Texas as well from Argo blockchain, who borrowed $70 million from NYDIG to buy mining rigs. The loan brings Argo's debt to build out its 200 megawatt Helios facility in Texas to $97.2 million. Crypto miner Argo blockchain is borrowing $70.6 million US from a subsidiary of New York Digital Investment Group NYDIG to fund purchase of mining equipment for its Helios facility in Texas. Argo, which has a market cap of $308 million in euro, 385 million US dollars, announced another $26.6 million loan from NYDIG back in March, bringing the total to $97.2 million. Argo expects the Helio facility in Dickens County to operate at 200 megawatts of electricity, but has the capacity to be ramped up to 800 megawatts, which could make it one of the largest mines in the world. The firm is one of a few buying Intel's new mining chips. The loan announced on Wednesday will be paid out in 8 tranches from the end of April to July, each with an interest rate of 12% and maturing in about 2 years. The loan announced in March came with an 8.25% annum interest rate and a term of 4 years. In Q4 of 2021, Argo raised 29.6 million euro, which is 40 million US dollars, in unsecured debt by issuing of senior notes that are traded on the NASDAQ Global Select Market, according to its annual earnings report. We've been talking about this all week. They're shifting. A lot of these public mining companies are shifting from, generating more shares and selling it to the public, basically using securities to obtain funding, to, of course, now borrowing. It's interesting to look at these rates and when they end. A lot of these are ending around the same time that you are going to see the next super cycle for Bitcoin. So I am not doubting that that is part of the strategy here from these companies when they're talking about it. And you should implement that strategy as well. Not the borrowing portion, just the preparation. And it's not financial advice, to be clear, but for the preparation of the next super cycle. Now, with all these miners coming into play and the attack from the Environmental Protection Agency, we need some big dogs to come out and play and advocate for cryptocurrency mining. Don't worry about it. We're getting them. Jack Dorsey, Michael Saylor, and the Bitcoin community pen a letter to Environmental Protection Agency to refute myths. A group of executives from within the Bitcoin industry has written a letter to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, in an effort to debunk myths about the environmental dangers of crypto mining. The letter was in response to a statement from Congress last month calling on the EPA to monitor crypto mining facilities for possible violations of environmental law. Bitcoin heavyweights like Twitter founder Jack Dorsey and MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor wrote their own letter in hopes of refuting what they believe to be myths surrounding crypto mining. Responding to the notion that it is imperative to understand the pollution associated with the mining of cryptocurrencies, the executives say that this belief is, quote, deeply misleading. Quote, there are no pollutions, including CO2, released by digital asset mining. Bitcoin miners have no emissions whatsoever. Associated emissions are a function of electricity generation, which is a consequence of policy choices and economic realities shaping the nature of the electrical grid. Digital asset miners simply buy electricity that is made available to them on the open market, just the same as any industrial buyer, end quote. Responding to the idea that a single Bitcoin transaction could power the average U.S. household for a month, the executives claim that this notion is patently false. Quote, the bulk of the incentive for miners to consume energy will continue to be issuance related for the foreseeable future. And so forecasting Bitcoin's energy cost requires assessing the interplay between a potentially rising unit price and a declining issuance rate. It therefore makes no sense to associate energy consumption with individual transactions, since Bitcoin's energy usage is not related to transactions. And Bitcoin can scale arbitrarily without increasing its transaction count or energy use, end quote. According to the crypto advocates, there is no real distinction between a crypto mining operation and the data centers of technology company, and attempting to regulate such systems would set significant historical precedent. It's actually better. because it's less wasteful. We've talked about this previously, and I think that from the perspective of these arguments, whenever you get into them from an environmental perspective, it's important to note that what crypto mining does is reduce the waste of energy, both from the aspect of the ways in which they are incentivized to obtain the energy due to costs. And if we compare it directly to data centers and proof of stake, it does not have any sort of backup system running around, just sitting there doing nothing and consuming energy, waiting for your Ethereum 2.0 node to fail over. Quote, there is no meaningful difference between a digital asset mining facility and data centers run by Google, Apple, or Microsoft, except for the one that I just pointed out, which would put, like I said, Bitcoin mining above, in my opinion, and less wasteful than Google, Apple, or Microsoft. Each is just a building in which electricity powers IT equipment to run computing workloads. Regulating what data centers allow their companies to do would be a massive shift in policy in the United States. End quote. There you go. Let's talk about Flux, boys. So, as you guys might have been aware, we have a snapshot coming up tomorrow for Flux. There are some things you should probably go do some research on, where you need to keep your Flux and how that all is going to function. From the miner's perspective, what it's doing is enabling us to have more revenue immediately available. If you're not aware, essentially how Flux works is while you're mining it, you're not only getting paid out Flux directly as part of the block reward, but you also get paid out in parallel assets. Parallel assets are a tokenized asset or version of the Flux coin on a parallel network. This includes Cadena, it includes Solana, it includes Ethereum, it includes Binance Smart Chain. What was the fifth one? Let me get that up for you guys. It was Tron. There we go, TRX, right? So those are the parallel assets you get paid out in. Most, if not all of those parallel assets are automatically converted by the pool and paid out to your Flux wallet. During the next snapshot, we have basically two more coming online. We have Avix and Luna. Now, the mining portion may take a little bit longer. It's hard to find information on this, and I do want to talk to the Flux team so we can get more information, hopefully tomorrow, from you guys. But the next parallel assets will be Flux and Avix and Flux and Luna, a dual snapshot. So be sure to have your Flux on Zelcore or staked on CoinMetro for the May 5th snapshot. So you either need to put it in your Zelcore wallet or have it staked on CoinMetro. The Flux holders will get roughly 5.4% of both Avix and Luna. So that's up to, essentially up to 11% in additional Flux for having it in the proper section. So get it off of your traditional exchanges if you have it over there. Get it out of the mining wall or the mining pools if you can. Maybe just snag it out of there and get it sitting in your Flux wallet so that you can participate and get the benefit from this. There's another little slide here that makes it a little bit more clear. Next parallel asset snapshot, May 5th, 2022. You have Flux and Avix, plus or minus 5% of your holdings, and Luna, which is also the Terra and the Avalanche, essentially plus or minus 5%. These are going to be pretty big deals. I do worry a little bit that we will see, obviously, this initial pump that we've been seeing over the past week go back down because people are trying to get this additional 10%. So obviously, you're probably willing to spend a little bit more extra. How many people are going to take this initial 10% and dump it onto the market is yet to be seen. That doesn't mean, of course, that this is a knock on Flux. There's just things to think about. Usually, like if you have just a traditional trade markets and people see that pump that's going to happen, they may immediately go ahead and dump whatever holdings they have if it puts them in the green. Flux is pretty much one of the only ones this week that's been showing significant improvement in price, and it's due to this snapshot. And once again, the snapshot is going to enable additional parallel assets. That does mean that here eventually the miners will also be getting paid out in these additional parallel assets, which is going to increase the amount of Flux that you are receiving. So hopefully for miners, and in good timing for us miners, seeing that we have, of course, the impending doom of the proof of stake for Ethereum, hopefully we're getting some more revenue out of a competitor or another, not really a competitor of ETH, I should be more clear. Competitor from a mining perspective, but another option to mine, right? So there you go. That is how that wraps up. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the great hash rate migration. What I'm going to do is get an invite link for you guys here, and we are putting together a Discord to track it all, okay? And right now, I believe we have 275 members online. We just announced it last night, so proud of you guys for popping that in. 502 members offline. So far this Discord has already gone from 0 members as of last night to overnight hitting, 775 members or something ridiculous like that at this point. So lots of good people in here, lots of good information. All of the admins are going to be content creators that are participating. You can see us up in the top. You can message us if you have ideas, etc. It's myself so far, Rabid Mining, Hobbyist Miner, Vega. I believe DJ Mines is in there as well. I think he's appearing offline right now. So DJ, I think you're in there. Tech Shinji. Which actually I need to go ahead and promote him to admin as well. And that is pretty much it. We did see a retweet from Bitsby Trippin', and that was thanks to Daniel Keller of Flux. So we are going to approach that. So let's give the top-down idea. Go watch the video if you haven't watched it yet. But the top-down idea is prepping for the Ethereum merge from the miner's perspective. So the advantage, once again, of the devs for Ethereum is that they have a whole bunch of test nets to test how their merge is going to work and affect their network. Miners don't have that ability. Miners have to do everything basically on the live networks, which means we do have to take profitability hits and so on. That makes it a little bit more difficult. So what we're trying to do, and we need a lot of miners to participate. So the numbers are looking good. We got to build it up. So the goal is to start testing. The first test that we're going to do is scheduled for May 13th at 9:45 a.m. Central Time. We will be covering it on this channel. And then if DJ Mines is a mod, he can go ahead and post that link. Hopefully that will work. So if you can get that for me, DJ, I don't know what I did wrong. But the important note is going to be that on May 13th, 9:45 a.m. Central Time, we'll be live streaming it over here, start tracking network reactions. I saw some concerns about 51% attacks. The first test that we're doing is you move to whatever coin you want to move to. So we aren't going to be targeting any specific networks. From that perspective, post will be communicating with devs. Now, we're already publicly communicating with devs. We have retweets from Daniel Keller as well as the official Flux page. We have retweets and support from the Ergo blockchain and from Ethereum Classic. So we have support from other networks, okay? They will be prepared and they will be interested and just as excited about this as everybody else. So don't worry about it. That is what we're working on. Once we have the first initial test done, the idea will be to start scheduling out every 2 weeks a move to individual networks to test them out. And at that point, what my plan will be is to directly get into communication in private chats, DMs, whatever else with particular networks, let them know what we're planning on, and then we will begin to coordinate out anything that we need to do to prevent any security problems with 51% via whatever pools and so on. Some coins won't have this problem, right? Some coins will. Flux, for example, won't really have much of a problem here because of their node structure, for example. So we don't have to really worry about that as much, I think, as people may feel like we do, and we will be coordinating and working closely with people. Once again, the initial test is going to be treating it just like you would if the merge took place and it's day one, ETH is no longer mineable. What are you going to do? And that is up to you and your decision. We have a couple sections where we are requesting that we get some hash rates in place so we start getting an idea of how much we'll move. It may not be really possible for us to move much of a ticker on Ethereum. My goal is to try to get as much hash rate that we can. But what it will allow us to at least do is see if there's any glaring issues with any particular network that may not be able to handle even just the hash rate that we have. And that will be important to note as well. A lot of the first test is going to be testing for coordination, etc. I've also reached out to some of the larger mining firms, such as Luxor, for example, such as Hashrate, and so on, you know, basically saying looking for group. And the intention of this, once again, is not to attack Ethereum. The intention of this is to test for the miners so that we have an idea of what's going to happen. So what does that mean exactly? That means we don't really care what Ethereum thinks about it. We don't really care to make this a statement or a protest because at the end of the day, once again, Ethereum's moving to proof of stake no matter what. It's like an X relationship. We don't need to worry about what they're going to do. We need to worry about what we're going to do. We're going to go out there, we're going to try to figure it out, and we're going to try to figure it out together. And that's the main goal. I'm super excited. At the very least, it should be super interesting to witness how much hash rate influence I think the content creator community has, and what we can do from there in that perspective. It's also going to give us a better idea of in the future of how we can be careful about announcing new spec coins that we're mining, you know, that sort of thing. I think it'll help give us an idea of how to protect these communities, the smaller coin communities, a little bit better as well. So there's a bunch of additional information we can get off of this that I think will be beneficial. Let's get into mining profitability for the day, and then we'll get into questions and answers, because I'm sure there's lots of questions and answers and some people that have good points, and we'll get into it. But mining profitability for the day is not that great. I did move some back to Ethereum for now. So I'm at, I believe, about 4 gigahash a second. The rest is on Flux, and at 4 gigahash a second, we are expected to earn $144 US, which is 0.05 Ethereum. I believe yesterday was 0.04 Ethereum because we had 2 kilohash a second on miner pool for Flux, but we have brought that back down, as you can see. So our 24-hour period is only showing 2320 at 15 Flux coins, but we do get these parallel assets down here at 904, and in theory, we're going to get paid out in at least 2 more of these. So for me right now, that's going to be another 18 Flux here at some point. So there will be additional revenue that's coming into Flux. I'm also on Luck Pool as well, just with a couple of rigs mining Varus hash. I have to actually get a couple more in. I think the other coin we're mining right now is Darrow, just because I have a node built up for it. But that's pretty much it. If we take a look at what to mine, start calculating this out. Let's go ahead and correct the Flux hash rate. Calculate out. And we have Ethereum at $3.57 a day after power. Cero at $2.54 a day after power. Flux at $2.48 a day after power. Conflux at $2.21 a day after power. Rio at $2.30 a day after power with a recent change, so be careful on that one. Scrolling down, Z Classic at $1.98 a day after power, Ravencoin at $1.86 a day after power, and Ergo at $1.90 a day after 10 cents a kilowatt or 7 cents a kilowatt hour. So let's go ahead and correct that. No, not 1 cent. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Calculate that out again. You're closer to $3.34 a day on Ethereum, Flux at $2.27 a day. Mining pool, hash rates, Bitcoin, any big changes? No, still sitting at a 238 exahash a second. Let's check Ethereum. We're expecting 1.08. We're at 1.09 petahash a second with another increase that came up to here. Let's take a look at Flux. Is it maintaining that 2.2? It's not. We've had a drop off from yesterday at 2.25 mega solutions a second to 2.13 mega solutions a second, which is interesting because we're about to get a couple of parallel assets activated as well. So yeah, there you go. There's Flux. Let's take a look at Ergo. One of our issues that we're going to have with Ergo, of course, is the delayed difficulty increase, which actually takes a few days. So we've talked about this in the video last night for the migration test. Ergo, I think when we plan Ergo out for a migration test, we will probably do something like essentially mine for the whole weekend. It'll be easily the biggest hit that you'll take on profitability and revenue. But that being said, right now it's at 16.17 terahash a second. As you can see here, what you have is like these big pumps and then like a dump, essentially. Then it looks more profitable, so people come back, and then it does these little hills. These little hills, it always ends up being weird because you have low hash rate, high difficulty, and then you have high hash rate, low difficulty. It does have a hard time being consistent because of the delay, and I think a lot of miners get confused on exactly what's going on with it. Let's look at Ravencoin. Ravencoin's at 2.94 terahash a second. A little bit of a decrease from, it was over 3 terahash a second yesterday. So Ravencoin's taken a little bit of a bump. I do want to check some little small coins. I haven't looked at these in a while. Rio coin at 518.76 kilohash a second, which was looking profitable. Was another one. Cero. Super Zeros at 68.21 gigahash a second. A pretty big increase here recently in hash rate. Be careful with that one if you're going to pop over that, because it is showing up on what to mine. Conflux. Is that right? Yeah, Conflux. Conflux is at 545 gigahash a second. Had a couple spikes there, but it's kind of evened out. What was another big one? I think that's about it. We already checked Ergo. I guess there's Cortex, but I think we're going to leave it at that. Mining pool profitability for the past 90 days. Flex pool in first, mining pool hub in second, and F2 pool in third. Last 60 days, Flex pool in first, mining pool hub in second, F2 pool in third. Last 30 days, mining pool hub in first, Flex pool in second, crazy pool in third. Last 21 days, mining pool hub in first, crazy pool in second, Flex pool in third. For the last 14 days, mining pool hub in first, Flex pool in second, F2 pool in third. For the last 7 days, mining pool hub in first, Flex pool in second, F2 pool in third. For the last 3 days, mining pool hub in first, nano pool in second, and F2 pool in third. And for the last day, nano pool in first, mining pool hub in second, F2 pool in third. One thing I'll point out that's interesting is that Hivon's been pretty consistent as well. I think it was. Nah, never mind. I take that back. The 30 days it dropped down there. So Flex Pool, Mining Pool Hub, F2 Pool seem to be the most consistent right now. ASIC miner profitability, KD6 at $58.68. Silicon A11 at $51. KD6s are dropping hard, guys. That's the problem with ASICs right now, is the price is so expensive and the markets are very volatile. It can make your ROI very hard to determine. While the Bitcoin miners are pretty low, they aren't as, it's going to be around the longest, and they're all sticking kind of around that $12 a day price, or the S19 Pro is. So, there's something to be said of just buying a bunch of Bitcoin miners and taking a long ROI, as opposed to risking $60,000 on a coin that continues to get dwindling mining revenue. KD5 down to $40. Antminer L7 still sticking around that $40. Not too bad. It doesn't have near as bad of a drop right now. So that's something to take note of. And let's see if BT Miners has anything new. They are a sponsor of the channel. You can use the affiliate link down below. I'm seeing if there's any new pricing. It looks like the KD box is down to $5,700. It was around $6,000, so they dropped the price on that. It's going to have to come down a lot more when we look at those Kadena mining profits. You got the What's Miner M30. Any other big changes in prices? Not really at all. So there you go. Those are the price changes. It's pretty much on the KD box over here. Let's get into questions and answers. Remember, super chats are never required. Always appreciated. First to be answered because they're highlighted. In addition to that, tagging at Son of a Tech will turn the message orange and I will be able to read it. I want to say thanks everybody for 455 concurrent viewers. Total, we had 465 was the peak. So we almost broke the 500 concurrent. We broke it last week though, which is awesome. Golden Wolf says, at Son of a Tech, good morning from Seattle, USA. Good morning, Golden Wolf. All Hashed Up says, at Son of a Tech, any updates on Darrow? I'm mining it. It's not profitable, but I really do like their pool technology, or their node technology, I should say, which basically allows any public node to be mined to. I think that that is super unique and beneficial to the network. Detroit Iris says, at Son of a Tech, how are you going to cover pool profit post merge? Maybe do one coin per day, since everyone will be scattered across different coins. How are you going to cover pool profit post-merge? You mean when we get, because we do like the most profitable, well, the APIs are going to have to get built out for that. There is Ethereum Classic up there, but that's about it right now. Obviously, like, things are going to have to get flushed out more. More devs, I think, are going to have more opportunity within the mining community to help assist with pulling APIs and determining, everything from profitability to power consumption to new overclocks that are going to be needed. There's a lot of shifts that are going to have to happen once we start seeing how these people are, how everybody in the community is going to react. Then we'll know, a little bit more better. And that's kind of the goal of what's going on. Daniel Ring says, ask Son of a Tech, do you need more than 8 gigabytes to dual mine? My 3070 Ti just airs out on T-Rex miner. Dual mine what? And typically, no, you don't need more memory. More than likely, I would assume that you're having overclocking issues, or that the card's not able to handle dual mining, or the other potential is that you actually aren't supplying enough power from the power supply. That could be a potential problem too. Dave says, at Son of a Tech, will you be putting out a short video that we can share regarding the migration? It is already out. It came out yesterday. And I will get that linked to you now. Last night, or yesterday, about 17 hours ago. So at Dave, here's the video. we are going to be talking about how we're spreading the word as well, more in the Discord channel. So let me copy the Discord link as well. This is the Discord channel. Hi, at son of a hi says, or wait, hold on. DK was first. At son of a tech, good morning. Do we have a list of coins that are easy to cash out? Example being TON. You have to jump through hoops versus ETH, which is easy to cash out. I've talked about this a lot before. I've shown how to cash out Flux and your options there, TON as well. One that would be like obviously the easiest thing to migrate to is Ethereum Classic. You don't have to change overclocks. You really don't have to change much. Just change the pool you're mining to and the wallet address. And you also have easy liquidation because it's available on things like Coinbase, Crypto.com, Binance, etc. Ethereum Classic is by far the easiest to liquidate out of all of our options right now. Hi says, at Simon Tech, could you please do a video on different algos and their relationships with different GPUs? I have covered that a lot, but I guess like we could try to put something in concise. But I mean, the fast and dirty, right, is like 3000 series. You're going to be looking at Flux or maybe Ravencoin if you wanted to, or Cortex or Conflux. AMD GPUs, you know, you really are looking at Ergo and Ethereum Classic, just due to the way they function, that sort of thing. Oh, Ergo is pretty easy to liquidate as well because of the bridges, etc. I guess it's a little more complicated. Ethereum Classic's by far the easiest. Brandon Litt says, and then maybe Flux is easier with Zelcore wallet. Brandon Litt says, at Sunvatech, do you foresee a concentrated migration of the hash rate to a top 5 currency, or will it be far more diluted into smaller projects? This is a good question. One of the reasons why the first test on May 13th is to just have everybody pick what coin they would as if it was the actual migration is kind of to get an idea of where the hash rate's going to move. Then we'll start understanding kind of what people's initial thoughts are and what coins they back, right? And what that information will give us is the potential price discovery moving up to the merge of individual projects, right? So if we saw huge spikes initially on Flux, we would, you know, extrapolate, well, maybe at this point, because everybody's really, really like bullish on Flux, Flux will experience the most price discovery moving up to the merge. Alternatively, if that happens to Ethereum Classic or whatever, then we know where that is. We're going to try to track which ones get the highest percentage increase in hash rate and then determine some things from that and extrapolate the information, right? And then we'll see. I think that wherever the miners decide to go, smart miners aren't going to be liquidating their coins at a loss, you know? So that will automatically, you know, with the difficulty increase, etc., should increase the price. Will that happen on the migration tests? No, but it will give us an idea of where those potentials are. Miner Illusion says, at Sunvatech, you're installing a 60 kilowatt, 208 volt, 3-phase generator to bring in more power to my farm. Hopefully be able to report in a couple more months if that works out. Congratulations. Sounds good. Infinity says, KD box $3 a day and 1660 supers, $5 a day. That would be if you got 6 1660 supers, to be clear. But still cheaper than the KD box. Jamie Smith says, ask Sunvatech, when mining on Hivon pool with the Polygon payout, is it paid out in Matic or WETH? It's paid out in wrapped ETH on the Polygon network, which is why you can directly deposit it to Crypto.com and it'll show up as Ethereum. Miner Illusion says, at Son of a Tech, natural gas. Awesome, dude. I'd love to see that. Mining Potato says, at Son of a Tech, have you had any response from ETH devs about the great migration? No, and I don't think that we will. Like you'll see in most of the chat, and I think there's valid arguments here too, which we can address, is that most people assume that what we're doing doesn't have enough influence and won't have enough impact on the networks to matter. We're going to try to get an idea of if that's true and how true that is. Here's some things that won't happen more than likely. Hut 8 will not move their hash rate more than likely. Luxor will not have their clients move their hash rate more than likely. Ethereum ASICs will not have their hash rate move more than likely. What we will be seeing is what the home miners are going to be moving to and what that potential influence on the network would be. So it's suffice to say that Ethereum Classic, while we will test it, Ethereum Classic will probably be the one that is a moot point and we won't be able to determine anything off of. Other networks that are smaller, Flux, Ergo, whatever it may be, that also aren't going to have the Ethereum ASIC problem of moving over to them, we'll be able to see what that is. We'll also get an idea of how much hash rate these large firms have, and get a better idea of like how much of an influence they're going to have when they move, because then we'll start to be able to determine what the difference is between the actual distributed hash rate across home miners, smaller miners, even mining farms, but individual miners, I should say, and what institutional miners have. And then we'll get some better ideas as far as that goes too. And we'll basically be able to test some of these smaller networks and see how they react from a difficulty perspective, from a price perspective, all that sort of thing when we move over, right? 7how Mining says, Ask Tech, should hash rate migration be weekly versus 2 weeks? I'm not sure you're going to have enough time to frame test to multiple coins if the merge is a month away. The merge would not be a month away. So let's be clear on that. In 2 weeks, on the 13th, we will also have the Ethereum Core Dev meeting, and we should get more information on what's going to happen. If they decide to start forking testnets, you still have 8 weeks. So if they decide to start forking testnets on May 13th, you have 8 weeks from that date, which would give us, 8 weeks from that date, which would give us 4 big tests. And I think that would give us enough time to test at least 4 large currencies, probably something like Flux, Ethereum Classic, Ergo, and maybe like Ravencoin or something along those lines. Weekly, we could discuss. I don't want to set it into a position where people aren't able to cover their costs because there will be some issues there. Toby says, Ask Tech, do you hear from Red Panda Mining and his point of view on the migration? No, I have not yet. IATG 2001 says, Ask Tech, I noticed the Rio coin seems to consume a lot of power. How hot did the GPUs get? A comparison using Raven or Flux as a measuring stick would help a bunch. I haven't tested Rio since they changed a lot of their stuff. So since the algo changed, I don't think I've tested it. I don't have an idea right now off the top of my head, unfortunately. Mark 144 Hertz says, Ask Tech, are there any specific GPUs you're selling or buying right now? I'm selling and buying power. I'm trying to get upgraded at the moment. Dave says, Ask Tech, how much will it affect the migration if we start moving off ETH sooner than the 13th? It shouldn't matter, because then we would already be prepared and see that tick up. Like, we're going to take into account, obviously, the move from 2 mega solutions a second to the 2.25 mega solutions a second on Flux. It would be better if everybody does it at the same time, because then it'll be a lot more apparent. But if you wanted to move over before then, if that was already something you were planning on, then it shouldn't really have an effect on what we see from the networks. Real Rago says, Ask Tech, I might buy a small hydroponic power plant in the upcoming weeks to expand my farm. Any business advice? What? I don't even know what you're doing. Sounds awesome. Alex Dua says, it's my people, LOL. Anyway, what are you drinking? I am drinking some Gamer Sups. Lemonade? No, Mystic Melon, something like that. John Lemon says, Ask Tech, can you pretty please cover why the 6800 XT spanks the 6800 on Flux? I know it's core, but can you do some tests in depth? Well, I mean, it is core clock at the end of the day, right? That's going to be the same case for a lot of the 6000 series. I think like the refresh too, you're going to see a bump in. But you nailed it. Like, you got it. There's no mystery behind it. at all. Also, I don't have a 6800 XT. I have a 6900 XT, a 6800, 6750 XT, or 6700 XT, 6600 XT, and 6600. So the only one I don't have is a 6800 XT. Fun enough. DeFi Central says, at Son of a Tech, Texas mining is about to get rough. It's not even hot yet. Yes, sir. Leia Chow says, at Son of a Tech, if you test migrate a rig from ETH to Flux, do you need to change the overclock settings? Yes, you need to change the overclock settings. We have a room in the Discord for overclocks. It's going to help, hopefully, everybody when they're moving their overclocks over. Make sure you're saving your configs, that sort of thing. You can save overclock configs. These are some things that I have planned out to make videos on as well within HiveOS. That way, for the migration, you can switch over. You can do all your testing ahead of time. Get your overclocks put in for whatever coin you're planning to move to. Get them saved. And then you will still have your old ETH settings saved so you can flip back and forth more easily. Huddle Pocket says, Ask Simon Tech time codes on episode 106. I believe we're supposed to be getting some from Detroit Irish. I need to go check the comments. Amigos PC says, Ask Simon Tech, were you surprised or shocked how many home miners said they were into supporting the May 13th test? I was expecting it to be a lot slower growth. I am surprised that we have pretty much over 1,000 members already in Discord that we spun up, a Discord that we spun up yesterday. Now we have 309 online or something, which is insane. And then another 544 offline. So we already picked up another 100 people here. Pretty insane stuff. I think it's pretty incredible that we're getting to that point. Now, we'll just have to see how it goes and how much hash rate everybody has. It'll be kind of fun. Mining Potato says, Ask Simon Tech, thanks for all you do, spreading knowledge, reviews, and this fun migration project. Also love that you keep things positive. Not always, but I try. Bruno says, Ask Simon Tech, awesome initiative, going to shift my 3 gigahash a second to this project. This is a community. Yes, sir. That's what we need. We need everybody. John D says, Ask Simon Tech, what do you think of some of these other ETH-based coins like Quark Chain? Just curious. Thanks. I haven't seen any that have been reliable from a dev perspective, other than, of course, Ethereum Classic, but like ETH-O, most of the ET hash ones, not very interesting anymore. Most of the people that were doing ET hash moved to like some form of prog POW if they were serious at all, at least from what I've seen. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Rockport Tigger says, at Son of a Tech, can't seem to wrap my head around your plan to move hash rate on the 13th. Explain more. I personally will be moving based on best coin to mine or dual mine per individual card. Yeah, so for me, I'll probably be moving like all of my 3000 series to something that is good for that, like Flux or whatever. Then I'll be moving like the AMD stuff, for example, to something that is good with that, like Ethereum Classic or whatever. At Son of a Tech said, I did them. They are in chat as of yesterday. Did what? Sorry. It's hard to keep up. Matthew Smith, thanks for becoming a member on the channel. The Hobbyist Miner says, okay, it says that we have a sheet pinned in Discord that I'm talking about in the overclock settings channel. Yes, sir. Please tag at Son of a Tech if you have questions or do a super chat. Detroit Iris says, at Son of a Tech just did timestamps right before the broadcast. Let me know if it didn't save for some reason. Cool. I'll go over there and add them to the description. Thanks for the help, dude. 3 Mil says, Ask Simon Tech, great content. Keep it up. Let's go bear market and hodl strong for 2025. Yeah, once again, that is where the opportunity will be for sure. Dan San says, Ask Simon Tech, do you ever get burned out of building and maintaining setups? I get burned out on YouTube more than maintaining setups, because I think like, I'm more, I lean more towards like, I wouldn't say I'm introverted, but I lean towards more of like working on things and like sitting down and just kind of tinkering by myself for hours on end. Like I've always done that. That's why I worked in IT. That's why before that I was a motorcycle mechanic. I never like went out to get a job that was public facing, right? Like it was never like, oh, I would love to go do retail or go be a whatever, a realtor or something like that. That was never me. So the burnout usually comes from the social interactions. That doesn't mean that I don't love it. It's just my personality type. Usually that will be where I kind of get like social media, that sort of stuff. So that's why you'll kind of see me like kind of turn off on Saturdays and Sundays and stuff like that. Bruno, thank you for the €20. Matthew Smith says, Ask Tech, just wanted to say thanks. You are our mining dad. Yes, sir. We got to pay attention to see what happens with Bits 2 here. Crypto Wrath says, Ask Tech, when you think Web 3.0 is actually realized and used widely after we see a collapse of all the nation states. Kazuma says, Ask Tech, what are good GPUs for Flux? Pretty much all the 3000 series and all the 2000 series. If you are looking for some weird outliers that do really good, the GTX 1070 is one that does really good. Martin says, Ask Tech, can you share the Discord link again? For some reason, it doesn't work for me. I'll share it again, and it is in the description as well, by the way. Huddle Pocket says, Ask Tech, time codes for 106 completed in chat on episode 106. If Detroit is doing them, he can do them. I'll yield to Detroit. All right, thanks, man. Translucent says, I'm the same way. Yeah, I think a lot of people can be that way. It's not a negative. Hawk Crypto Mining says, Ask Tech, do you think there's a possibility, thanks for the $4.99 super chat, by the way, there is a possibility ETH devs will pull back on proof of stake if they start to see a decline in the network? I think that they will diffuse the difficulty bomb. So let's say we do this initial test. It won't have a huge effect because the bomb hasn't really started to affect the block times negatively quite yet. But if the hash rate goes down that way, they may look at that and then go, okay, well, maybe we do need to do the bomb delay a little bit further out, because what will end up happening is inevitably, because we are testing, and depending on how many people that actually participate, we will start affecting the block times on Ethereum. So the big ones that will start affecting it will not be necessarily in May, but once we start testing in June, if they do not delay the bomb, when we're testing in June, we will start significantly impacting the block times on the network. Whenever we decide to do a migration test, we will affect the block times on the network inevitably. If it's significant enough to drive it above that 25-second mark that Vitalik Buterin is worried about, then we will see it could potentially influence a short-term bomb delay. Well, that be a couple months, like from Tim Biko. That is a potential. That is not our goal, but that is a potential. And if it does happen, we will talk about it because it will be very interesting. It would be kind of funny. Here's kind of where the position I take it from. This is not an attack on Ethereum, but we don't owe them anything and they are abandoning us. So why would it, we have no reason to be like, yo, I'm going to support ETH till they die. Like that would be stupid because that's not going to help us out at all. So like I said, it's not an attack on Ethereum, but like, why would we just not prepare, in some weird support of a coin that doesn't support us? Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. Jonathan, thanks for the $5 super chat. Just said, want to give you props. I legit wouldn't be here where I am in my mining venture if it wasn't for your content over the last few years. Godspeed, friend. Thank you, good sir. Mining Potato says, that's Simon Tech, don't you worry about it. You do great in front of the camera. Remember, we are all people, up or down in life. Yes, sir. Jacob Batson says, do you have hot and cold lanes for your cooling your mining rigs? Typically, if I set up, yes, I have a hot side and a cold side, just like I would set up a data center. Rockport says, is this move on the 13th in the experiment to see overall hash rate gauging as a whole? What exactly we're attempting to accomplish? Yeah, we want to see where everybody thinks they're going to move, I think, initially. This initial one will give us an idea of like basically which networks increase the hash rate the most percentage-wise. Then once we have that data, we can really plan out kind of individual network testing. Andre Mora says, ask Tech, I tested to move my my rig for mining Flux now, but I saw my 1660 Ti run good as a hash rate of 3250.5. Do you think it is a good hash rate for those GPUs? Yeah, around 30 solutions a second is pretty good for the 1660 Ti and Supers. Og says, ask Tech, is there a way to dual mine Flux with other more memory demanding coins? Not really, no. It has basically both memory and core requirements for Flux. Flux will be a solo mining one. That being said, you can do Ethereum Classic and TON, or Ethereum Classic and ALF pretty easily right now. Or Ethereum Classic and, God, why am I blanking? Can someone help me out with the other one that's a timed Ethereum or ET hash? I don't know why I'm blanking, guys. Sorry. Hold on. Oh, golly, somebody's going to say it. Easel. Easel.me. What is the... Zilliqa. There we go. Zilliqa. Got it. Thanks for the $10 super chat from Jordan. He says, I have a 2 kilowatt PSU meant for mining. If does not restart when power goes out, has to be physically reset. Should I get a 2 kilowatt standard PC PSU? Thanks. Meant for mining. It does not restart when the power goes out. Yeah, that means that probably something inside on the rails has been compromised. You mean like if you flip the switch, it doesn't turn off? King Choga says, that's Simon Tech. Thank you for showing the potential in Ethereum Classic. Also love your green drink. Yeah. Kazuma says, that's Simon Tech. Okay, man. Good show. Got to go back to work. All right. Have a good day at work. Zill. You guys caught it out before I did. Jorge says, that's Simon Tech. Keep in mind when you set overclocks on Flux, the hash rate will not change immediately. That's true. And in addition to that, you need to make sure you have enough power to cover it. Matthew Smith says, at Simon Tech, do you think it's ever worth dual mining on non-light hash rate cards, or is it mostly a light hash rate thing? For TON, things like TON, ALF, dual mining is great. Even for Easel or Zilliqa, it's fine. Zilliqa is not true dual mining, to be clear. It's basically, it only solves blocks within certain time frames. So whenever a block is ready to get solved, that you push off of Ethereum, you solve that block, then you just go back to Ethereum. It's the same, it's still the same algorithm. Which, by the way, I should go back and address that. People are asking about other ET hash coins. Zilliqa is one of the big ET hash coins that I think would be important here. Rockport says, so is the plan to flip late at night on the 12th, say at midnight? No, it'll be at 9:45 a.m. Central Time, 10:45 a.m. Eastern. We'll do the flip. We'll do the live show. We'll kind of go through it and talk about it. My plan is to have some different content creators pop in and chat with me about it. We'll run it till Saturday at 10:45 a.m. Central Time, or 10:45 a.m. Eastern, or yeah, 9:45 a.m. Central. Do probably a little live stream as well on Saturday, the 14th, kind of see what happened. And then we will all flip back to ETH and then go from there. Android Man says, ask Son of a Tech. Them, what? Oh, sorry. The great Ethereum hash rate migration. You did a, we got an anagram for it or whatever. All right. It should be 48 hours to get Europe and Asia on board. We will be doing longer tests probably for the weekend. Real Gross says, ask Son of a Tech, after I set up a new internet at home, some of my rigs go haywire. Lots of rejects on T-Rex, but not on all. Any idea what I should check to fix? Potentially some ports and stuff like that. Check the firewall though. I would assume maybe you have some sort of built-in firewall or your ISP is blocking certain things that are connected to cryptocurrency. Infinity says, ask Son of a Tech, what else OS do you use for most of your mining builds? Hive OS. John B says, ask Son of a Tech, hi, I just became a member. I made a Rocket Chat account, but it's stuck on please wait. Is that normal? Not necessarily. You can email me, though, at blindrun@sonofatech.com with your information, and I can take a look at it and make sure you get logged in. Rockport says, ask Son of a Tech, how do we report what we switched over to and moved? In the Discord. I'm going to get going. It's already 11:30. I'm going to try to get to Jiu-Jitsu. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to hit the like, comment, subscribe, notification bell down below so you're notified when we have more videos. I want to thank everybody for the support. We're going to get through this together. Let's start getting the test going. I'll see you next Tuesday.